Good morning, everybody. We were speaking a little bit about Darwin yesterday and the notion of random mutation and evolution being the cause of existence and how unlikely that is. You know, one of the greatest arguments against random selection as a means of evolution is something which is called coordinated evolution, which means how does one explain through the theory of mutation and selection the coexistence of organs in a body, let's say, that need one another for the organism to exist? Does that mean that those organs or body parts or systems must have evolved simultaneously? You probably don't know what I'm talking about. Let me give you an example. Think about a poisonous snake. You ever wonder why a poisonous snake doesn't poison itself? Well, it's very simple. Most snakes have either one or two of these systems to make sure they don't poison themselves. Either they have sacs, certain sacs inside of them that contain the poison and prevent the poison from integrating into the organism. The other way is that they have a system of neutralizing. They've developed a system of chemical system within them that neutralizes the poison or the venom inside of them, and that's why they don't die. Now think about this for a minute. How does that work when it comes to random selection? So if the sacs or the chemical, let's say, evolved before the venom evolved, then those mechanisms, either the sac or the neutralizing chemicals, would confer no evolutionary advantage upon that animal, and therefore would not be selected and perpetrated through random selection because it would accomplish nothing. On the other hand, if the venom is developed first before the sacs or before the neutralizing chemical, in that case, the animal will be poisoned. So the only way that we can understand this, if this is happening through random selection, is both the neutralizing chemical or the sac that contains the chemical and the venom must have randomly selected and mutated simultaneously, which is incredibly impossible to even fathom. Let me give you one more example. This is one of my favorites. There's a little bug called the bombardier beetle. So the bombardier beetle, you can Google this. It's really interesting. The bombardier beetle has a chamber that produces hydrogen and another chamber that produces hydrogen peroxide. And apparently, I've never tried it, but when you mix hydrogen and hydrogen peroxide, you get an explosion, combustion. So what happens? This beetle has a mechanism inside of it to keep these two chemicals apart. And then what happens when the beetle is provoked, it heats up each of these chemicals separately in their separate chambers. They're forced or squeezed into one combustion chamber where together they create a form of combustion. And then they are exited or they are shot out through a little nozzle that's like a turret that spins in 360 degrees. And it shoots it out at 1,000 pulses per second. Okay, now this is absolutely amazing. And if you think about this, how does this beetle evolve? So if the chemicals evolved before the chambers evolved that kept them separate, then the beetle would explode. If the chemicals that combust together were created and the combustion chamber evolved, but the nozzles that they shoot out of had not yet evolved, the beetle would explode. Any scenario that you come up with, it's impossible unless you want to say that all of these systems, the chemicals, hydrogen peroxide, separate chambers, the combustion chamber, and the nozzles, all randomly mutated at the identical time. Otherwise, this beetle could not exist. So this is what we call coordinated evolution, and coordinated evolution presents a tremendous difficulty with understanding the universe as coming about randomly through random selection. I just want to read you one quote here, which I really love. This is from a British evolutionist named Fred Hoyle. He writes, "The chance that higher forms have emerged through random selection is comparable with the chance that a tornado sweeping through a junkyard might assemble a Boeing 747 from the materials therein." Think about that and have a wonderful day.